What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Unapologetically Black Male, where we talk about surviving the stigma, standards, and systems. Once again, we would like to thank you for everyone who's subscribing to our podcast, downloading it on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple. Want to give a shout out to my co-host, brother EJ Stewart, our sponsor, J Pope and Associates, and we have another great interview for you this week. We have brother Anthony. I'm going to give Anthony a few minutes to kind of talk about himself, give us a little bit of background, and we're just going to hop right into the questions. We'll get into the preliminaries, as far as following the social media information later. But let's get into the interview. Anthony, can you give us a little bit about yourself so the people can know who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, my name, as you know, name's Anthony. I was born and raised in New York City. Moved to Maryland in high school. And, once I graduated from high school, I went to Morgan State University. I graduated there, class of 04. Once I finished there, I started working with the federal government. So I've been with SSA, Social Security Administration, for 18 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the process of, being there, I stumbled upon, well, not stumbled upon fitness, but fitness became something that, that was a passion of mine. And it just grew from me wanting to put on, a little bit of weight, just to feel more confident about myself, to me training and helping others, which also then transpired into me taking on, bodybuilding.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna celebrate the fact that you went to the great Morgan State University, because my brother here, he went to some school out of state. But y'all do share something. He went to a school out of state. I just leave it at that. I let him share where he went. But it doesn't compare to Morgan State. I'll just say that.
I tell you.
You go to Howard,
Delaware State University.
Oh, you
Delaware
State? Oh,
yes,
man.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
That's the same reaction everybody had. Delaware. Oh man, like why'd you go there of all places? But that's neither here nor there. Oh man,
great school.
All of our HBCUs are great, and they're right. So we just like to celebrate them and that. So you said you've been at you said SS Social Security Administration for 18 years?
18 years. Yes.
Okay. Wow. So how has that been? We'll talk about that We'll talk about that first, and then we'll kind of get into the training, because that kind of came later, in your journey. So how did you get there? And what are some things that you might have had to face while you're in that position, as an African American male in that particular arena?
I think how I ended up there, you finish school, everyone says, get a, that good government job with those benefits.
Absolutely.
And so, coming out of college and, filling out those job applications, you don't know quite what you're gonna, qualify for, or, when applying for those jobs. And so my degree, it was actually in graphic design and advertising. And so I knew going to school that wasn't something that I wanted to work for a company doing. I wanted that creativity and that freedom, not to be, boggled down into, something that is their vision, but not mine. So I kind of did that on my, on the side on my own. And, I had a couple of friends help, get me into the government. The job initially, just wanted to get in,
Right.
Always had an idea that I wanted to work with computers and do IT. But since my degree wasn't directly followed, underneath that umbrella, it was like, just get in and then you'll figure it out from there. So, got in, at the time the job was benefits authorizer, essentially it was post-adjudicative actions for like retirement, survivors, disability, stuff like that. Did that for a year, got promoted to another job, which was the front end of that, when you took the interviews from, the claimants and approved or denied their benefits. Did that for 4 years. And then I got to IT. Okay. And I was like, finally, I'm here, And once I got into it, it was, wait up, this is not the IT I want. Oh, it's IT. Then realize how broad IT was. So people just say IT, and it's like, you could be doing security, you could be doing testing and validation, you could be doing tech support. It was like, it was a whole nother world. And, I did that for about 4 years, realized, it's not the area I wanted to be in. Got another position dealing with like contract procurement, dealing with everything print and publication within the agency. But I knew immediately that's not where I wanted to be. So I stopped chasing money and started chasing purpose. You know, it was like, okay, where can I, see myself long term? Where would I fit best suit? And not after a year or two having to change jobs. So I was like, you like IT, but what is it in IT that you want to do? And so I like troubleshooting and solving problems. Now trying to figure out how to get there. It's funny. Like my life has always kind of worked in. I've seen like God work in my life, and like each and every step. And in that instance, I ran into an old coworker. We were just, walking in the hallway, and we had a discussion. And I just telling him about, how, I was unhappy and I really wanted to get into IT. He was like, "Yeah, you should just reach out to such and such, and just see if you can get an interview and just talk to them and just tell them about your aspirations and your goals and see where it leads from there." So, I sent the gentleman an email, let him know, and he's like, "All right, well, we could meet." So, okay. So we met. He liked my initiative, and he said, "Let's set up a detail for you so you can come over, get some experience, see how it works out, and we'll go from there." And he said, "Who sent you again, by the way?" And I told him, he's like, he never even heard the person's name.
Wow.
So it was just funny how, that worked out. I was put into that position, to get that detail. And it was right during the Trump administration. So they were doing a hiring freeze, and they offered me a permanent position there. So I've been there ever since. And, now the fast, to kind of, do we stay there? We go to the training.
We can go to training. I want to get a little bit into, you got us up until that point and just kind of navigating those transitions. And really that thing you said, you stopped chasing money, but you started chasing purpose. Like what was the kind of the turning point for you to kind of make that decision? Because I think many times in our life we have those moments where we chasing, all right, we want the car, we want the house, we want that financial security, but sometimes we stay in that position and we just keep chasing the money, or we shift, or we transition, like you said, you transition from the money to finding purpose. Like what was kind of going on in your life to kind of make you make that transition, or that mindset shift per se?
It just got to the point where I'm making good money. I'm able to do and go and come as I please, do what I want whenever I want. But there was like a sense of emptiness there. So it was like you're still running in this circle. No matter how much money I made, I always kind of ended back up in a certain place. That place of, is this it? It's like something's missing, from my life. Or you get the money, but then you don't like the job. It's something. There's always an issue, and you just find yourself stuck in that same spot. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna just keep chasing money. I'm gonna find something I really enjoy doing and where I can help others. And it's like, well, what is your purpose? What do you enjoy doing? Helping people. Now, I didn't know exactly what that would look like. I just knew that in some form of capacity, I'd be helping others. And so, again, IT, you're helping people. So in some form of capacity, I'm serving my purpose. It still might not be my ultimate purpose, but I'm serving it in some form. And it is something that I enjoy doing. So it's not just, a lot of people, they see the dollar and they be like, I'm going to do that. And then they're miserable. And I know plenty of people that like truly get up and they do not like their jobs. And that starts to impact your mental health. It starts to roll out from your job. You bring that home. Now you bring that to your family. You bring that to your kids. You bring that to your friends. And then over time, it just eats at you. So I didn't want that to be me, as I, had matured, with time.
Gotcha.
But let's go back to the beginning. You being from New York and transitioning here, what was that experience like for you?
Slow. When I first moved here, it was so slow. Oh man, I was like, what is this? So and then going to the schools like in New York, it's snowing or raining. School was fine. There's no issues at all. Like you going to school. And so I remember getting up, walking to school one day, and I got all the way to school, And they're like, well, it was dark. All the lights was out. And I was like, it's closed. What's up with this? Come back home. So transitioning initially, and at that time, it was no Hispanic people really here. So that was kind of different, just growing up around, like New York is a melting pot. So you just all kind of cultures, especially Hispanics, some around. So just coming here and it just, wasn't no Hispanics and everything was just much slower, the buses and everything else, and that the walk into everything, like extremely far to get to different places, because the buses didn't run as efficient as they do now.
Right.
So, yeah.
What was the reasoning for y'all moving from New York down here?
Just better opportunities, more bang for your buck. Up there, you could get a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom place, and it's like the size of a living room here.
Exactly.
So yeah.
That's what's up. And Morgan was the choice. What went into that decision of going to Morgan and pursuing education there?
So I wanted to. There was a school in Philly called the Bradley Academy Art Institute. I wanted to go there and pursue being an artist. But my parents kind of talked me out of it. It was like, oh, you're going out of state and you don't know anybody and you're alone. And so what are you going to do if you need someone in an emergency? And so I started applying, and Morgan, gave me the most money, So I was like, well, that's what we go. We go in the place I can go to for free. And so, ended up being one of the best decisions I made. But at the time, I was just going somewhere who gave the most money.
And have you ever got back into, the artistry, or like, how did that pan out?
I don't do it as much anymore. And so there are a couple of reasons behind that. The Dream Killers came in, during Morgan. And so at the time, my teachers, the things that they were experienced in weren't in the areas that I wanted to go in. And instead of being able to nurture and guide those talents, it was, basically trying to force you into their ideals. And so it kind of just turned me off from, drawing it all together. So I was a cartoonist. So I like to do like the graffiti and the cartoons and stuff like that. But there really wasn't a place for that there at that time in that curriculum. And so that, that kind of pushed me out of it. And so then I did graphic design. And at the time, and I do it still for myself personally, when I want to do like shirts and stuff like that. But just business wise, I got out and, I started doing business cards, flyers, brochures, websites and stuff for, different customers trying to help our community. And my pricing was fair. It was cheaper than what the market was charging. And I was giving you better service. But, everybody that, hey, homie, you going to charge me this? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I'm charging you cheap, but you rather go pay more and get less quality than, giving me the money because you know me. And it just, so I just got turned off from it. It completely turned me off from it. And I just was like, all right, just threw my head up and, just got away from it.
That's a shame. I mean, but honestly, that's kind of, I'm not going to say, I mean, that's our culture. I try, you try to sugarcoat it. No, it's just us. Like at the end of the day, we're going to always try to find a cheaper route, even though we know supporting, somebody like yourself, and you say you below market value, you give a better service.
Right.
People really don't appreciate that. It's almost you got to charge them the same price that other people charge them. And the people who appreciate you will actually appreciate you and pay for the service.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, it might not be the people that we want to support, that we want the support from.
Right. Yep.
Exactly. And that's the part that's often difficult to deal with.
You learn that in business real quick.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's talk. Let's hop into the training. You've been doing SSA for 18 years now. You said you fall into it. How did this come about? Is this something that's kind of like, oh, you want to get back in shape, and then they kind of spiraled out? Tell us the story about that.
Yeah. So throughout my life, I was in and out of fitness and sports. Nothing ever serious, but enough to be strong, like doing pull-ups, and push-ups and running, up and down the street, playing intramural sports and stuff like that. But never can, maybe a month or two, and then you just fall off. You miss that one day, then that week, and then you just, then it turn into months, and then it's like, all right, what happened? So it was that repetitive cycle. But when I got the IT position, the first one, they had a gym inside of that office building. And so it made it convenient to go down there during my lunch hour and train. And so, initially, I wanted to, put on size, because I was always, a few things I got picked on about being light skinned and being slim, so the jokes never stop with my boys. So I was like, I'm tired of always being joked. We put on some size, and get them quiet, even though that didn't help. But and so it started from there. Just started working out, reached my goal weight, put on some size, started looking pretty decent. And I noticed people started gravitating towards me, asking questions, wanting to train with me. And so then it sparked the idea of, okay, again, like my passion on purpose, helping others. So it's another way to, assist and help others. So I spoke to a fellow friend of mine who was already a trainer, what his thoughts was. And he essentially kind of gave me the green light, like, you'll be successful at it. Go ahead and do it. So I went ahead and got certified, and then just took my very first client in and started, helping them through their process, and, getting them from point A to point B. And, once you get that one person in and you can get them from point A to point B, then it's like a domino effect. And, here we are today, as far as, just being able to help others grow as well as myself.
What challenges have you kind of faced in this realm? Because it seems like, a lot of people are in the game, and being trainers and things of that nature. So what are some challenges or things you try to set yourself apart from, and, try to do to stand out?
Honesty, I don't sugarcoat, anything from anybody. I give them, the direct truth. It's no games, it's no cookie cutter programs. I'm like, it's going to take time. It's going to take, effort on your part. The only person that you're going to cheat is yourself. Like, you tell me whatever you want. I mean, you already paid me. The only person you're going to cheat is yourself. So if you're going to pay me to cheat yourself, then it is what it is. But sometimes it comes at a caveat. The challenges I think I face the most is, pricing. When I give people the prices, again, fairly priced. I've learned not to be cheap, because a lot of times you start out cheap, you want to bring people in. So you need to bring some clientele in, so you start low to get people in. But then after a while, you start to value your time. Like, what is your time worth to you? Like, I'm coming all the way out here and I'm driving, training you for $20 for an hour. Something wrong with that, And so the challenge was getting people to take their health seriously, at a certain cost. But they have to understand that, you're paying for my time. You're taking time away from my family. You would say, I could be home, my wife and my kids, and I'm out here training you, trying to help you better yourself. And you out here, you spending money on everything else, but you don't want to spend money on your health, your long term. That's your greatest asset. You can have the house, you can have the cars, you can have everything, but if you don't have your health, you can't enjoy none of it. And so I think that was one of my biggest challenges, as far as, getting people in and trying to help them, is just to see the benefits of taking a few months to invest in yourself. It's not forever, but this is a small investment that you're going to make in yourself that's going to last a lifetime.
Indeed. Yeah, I've always wondered, in that world, trainers, there's so many people doing things nowadays, and, just how that happens and how you maintain it. But yeah, so you're doing bodybuilding now, you said, as well, or? Okay, what has that been like?
And explain, like, if somebody's watching this, explain what's the difference between bodybuilding and this kind of regular weight training for somebody who might be watching that might not know.
So bodybuilding is about symmetry. You got some guys, weight training, you go in and they just always want to work chest, or they always just want to work arms, and it's typically it. Guys, typically it's chest, arms, and abs. That's all you want to work. But bodybuilding, all right, you got chest, arms, and abs, but where your legs at? Your back is lacking. So it's about symmetry. It's about balance. So it's about, and so it's going to be more so what you're lacking, not what you have. Because we see everybody up here looks great, but what are you missing? So it's like, all right, again, you got a great back, but shoulders is lacking, or your legs is lacking, so, and it's just about trying to make the best version of yourself. So I think, that's bodybuilding is going to be more centered around, making everything, balanced versus just going in, just lifting whatever you want, a few times a week.
And are you competing or just?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm competing. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I started in 2019. It was a goal of mine. Like I said, I got into fitness. I was doing it for a while, but I was like, I want to look like the magazines. Like, how I get like this, and it was always the meals, like, but you never follow it to a T. And I said, if I follow this for 12 weeks, what can I do? It's just 12 weeks, 3 months. Let's say I live to 90. I got, 50 more years before I get there. Let me invest. What's 3 months? What's 12 weeks? And that grand scheme of things, if you just look at the bigger picture, if I could just sacrifice and just do the right thing completely, let's see what I look like. And so I got with a coach, because it's about accountability. Like a lot of people ask me, now you're a trainer, you can do it yourself. I can, but I'd rather go out and have fun. So when I have to check into somebody, it kind of changes how you handle stuff. And so, I got with a coach. He was like, just do it. I promise you this is going to change your life. And I did it. And it definitely was tough. It tests you mentally. It tests you socially, emotionally. It puts you through. It shows you what you're made of, and it puts you in those dark places where it's just like you versus you, mind over matter. And I did it. Got on stage, had a great time, and then got bit by the bug, and I did another show, and then I did 2 more.
Wow. Go ahead, D.
Gotcha. So that bodybuilding, that mentality, I guess that plays a big part of like the training aspect of it, because like you said, because it takes a lot to kind of almost will yourself to, all right, this is the goal, so I have to make sure I stay on the goal. Like, what were the keys for you to kind of say, all right, I want to stick with this and I want to finish this out? Like, what was like the go-tos for you? Like, all right, I'm doing this, but on those dark days when I don't want to do it, like what kind of help you stay focused and help you stay locked in with that?
For me, it was, you made a commitment, so if you're going to quit on yourself, then you're going to quit on everything. You're going to be on stage at some point. So you see these other guys, you really want to, so it's kind of like looking at them for motivation, like, oh, they ready. So they look at you, you're not ready. So, stay on it, and then at the time, and it was funny, I was mad, but I think that's what really pushed me over the edge was my wife inadvertently called me a quitter. Because at one point during it, I was like, what I'm doing this for? I don't have nothing to prove to nobody. I've gotten far enough. And inadvertently she called me a quitter. And the inside I was hot. But it lit that match. Like, I'm not no quitter. Watch. I'm gonna show all down. I got that. I'm a chip on my shoulder. I'm gonna prove all of y'all wrong. And so that kind of is what got me over the hump for that first show. And then ever since then, I kind of, once I knew I had what it took, the rest was history.
It's always the one close to you.
Yeah. Are there a lot of black men in the bodybuilding world today, or is it still y'all a minority? Or
nah, it's definitely a lot of black men in bodybuilding. I think people also get it misconstrued. They think that when you say bodybuilding, they automatically think, oh, he's juicing or he's taking something, and like they have like about. I'm not even gonna say the number because I don't know offhand, but there are a lot of natural organizations where you can come in and compete naturally and actually have a attainable physique. Like there are people that you can actually look like, and it's like you don't have to go and take extra, performance enhancing drugs to get there. And so going there, that was actually my best my best experiences is meeting the people backstage that share the same story. So it's definitely a lot of Black men. There's definitely a lot of Black women, or you just people of color in general that are in the bodybuilding world.
Absolutely. So you're in the bodybuilding world. So kind of like, so now are you training people to do the same thing, or you like what's the goal now, or you just do training based off of people who are come to you about that?
Yeah, bodybuilding, that's a whole nother science. So I don't know how my coach do it. Like, I can give you nutrition advice and I can train you to a certain degree. But when it comes to that on stage look, that's another level. Yeah. I haven't really dived too far in that. So I just stay in general health and in fitness, weight loss, or weight gain and gaining strength, mobility and flexibility and longevity. That's where I stop at right there.
Okay. And your life, can you give us maybe 2 or 3 individuals who played a major part in who you are today? That you can kind of, if you can narrow down to 2 or 3, because I know some of us, we might have numerous people, but can you narrow it down to 2 or 3 people that kind of made a major impact and just kind of like left an impact that kind of helped push you to where you are now?
My mother, she was always, well, I'd say my parents, both of them, they were always hard on me. I'm the oldest of 7.
Okay.
So a lot of the responsibility was pushed on me, at a young age. So I had a lot of responsibility, like when most of my friends were out, having fun, I had to go to work and, pay rent,
Wow.
And so I definitely did not like it then. And I still don't, actually. I didn't like it then, I don't like it now. But it taught me responsibility. I was fortunate enough to, always be able to keep a roof over my head. I learned how to be responsible early. I won't even just say as a man, but just as a person. Learned to be responsible. I learned to, take care of family. I learned how to cook, clean, like all those survival skills that, you take for granted until you have to do those things for yourself. So, definitely them. Next up, I mean, well, now it is my, my ex-wife, but at the time, my wife, she had my back in a lot of situations. She always encouraged me, because I'm more of a introvert.
Gotcha.
And so, I'm out of sight, out of mind. Like, you don't talk to me, I don't talk to you. Like, I don't have no problem, but you ain't saying nothing, I'm not saying nothing. So she kind of like kept pushing me along the way. Like I said, when she tried to call me a quitter, she knew exactly what to say and do to get the best out of me. And, sometimes we bumped heads, but she always had my back to push me to the forefront to where I needed to be. And last but not least, I would say God. My faith, carried me so many places. I've seen how He's worked in my life. Again, like I said earlier, so many times, I have that mentality. Like, I truly believe that if I truly want it, I can have it. And it's proven time and time again. Like, again, every job I've had in the agency, I never had no experience with. And yet I got those jobs and I excelled in each and every one of them. Never knew how I would get from that job to this job with no experience, but somehow I always got there. I've been in jobs there. They was like, you're never going to get out of here. And quite a few of these jobs in these divisions, you're never going to get out of here. People have not moved out of here in years. And every single last one of those places I've left. And they always wonder how, And so, yeah, everything I've asked for, He's given to me. And even down into the health and fitness, again, I had set the goal to get my pro card. And I finally achieved that last year in May of last year. I ended up earning my pro card. So definitely, God has been that foundation, that that cornerstone to everything. I wouldn't be here today without Him.
That's dope. That's dope. Where we need to get the information and particulars of where to find you, how to get in contact with you, and all that good stuff.
Um, the easiest and fastest way, to get in contact with me would be my, Instagram page, Go Muscle dot training. I don't, I have TikTok, but I don't, I'm old, man. I don't be
Got you.
If you gonna find me, if you gonna get in contact with me, it's gonna be on Instagram.
Okay.
And
you on Facebook or no?
I am on Facebook, but
most of
yeah,
I got you.
Instagram. It's definitely Instagram. I do have a website, GoMuscletraining.com.
Okay.
Go Muscle Training is all one word, and and .com. And so if you want to learn a little bit more about me or see like the different types of programs and things that I offer, it's on the website too.
Okay, awesome. So I do like to allow our guests to kind of have like some parting words, and I being as though you in the fitness industry and you're a trainer, like what are if you were to give 3 tips to somebody out there who are what's this? This is we're coming up into the summer season. Everybody like to prepare for summer. So so what are some 3 tips to kind of that kind of help us get started in that journey towards getting our health back in order?
The first thing is, once you start that goal and you set that why, you're gonna need that why once times get hard. Have a strong enough why you're doing this. Don't just say, because there's a deeper reason, and that's one of the things when I talk to my clients, when I give them their questionnaire, I'm like, why are you doing this? And not just, I want to lose weight, but why do you want to lose weight? Let's get deeper into the reason why. There's typically something, whether it was like, for my instance, always being picked on for being small. So there's something deeper down there. And so, because a lot of it is going to be psychology. And so, you know what your why is. And because you're going to need that to fall back on once time gets hard, because it's not easy. I tell people all the time, you're in competing. I want to quit all the time. I'd be so mad. Like, I don't want to do this, but I always have to fall back on my why. And for this current show that I'm doing, my why is I want, my son to see me, on stage. So that's definitely one. 2, stick to the basics. All that stuff you see on IG, if you buy their program, because I've actually purchased programs. So I was like, I wanted to see what was so spectacular, and to compare what I'm doing versus what, other people are doing. And it's the same thing. It's all the same programs. That's it. So the stuff they're showing you is advertisement. I have to give you the oohs and ahs to draw you in. Because I mean, it's just like, if you were watching the sports, would you rather watch somebody shoot free throws, or you want to see them slam dunk?
Right.
Now all of us can't slam dunk like a LeBron James or Michael Jordan, but at the same time, that's what pulled us into wanting to know more. So just stick to the basics. And train your total body. Strength training is key. Cardio is essential too. But strength training is going to be a major component and your weight loss along with diet, because we have muscles, in our body. Of course, everyone knows that. But what people don't pay attention to or understand is, like anything, if you don't use it, you lose it. So as we get older, you're not as active. You're not working out. You're not getting stronger. And you don't have to go in and try to lift the gym. You can just do body weight exercises or just lift light weights, within your capacity, and just keep it simple. So again, for the second one, the basics, stay to the basics. The basics work. It's going to get boring, but, stay to the basics. And last but not least, it's you versus you. It's good to look at other people for inspiration. I look to people for inspiration, but you got to also understand that their genetics is their genetics. Like some people legs, I wish I had bigger calves. I do, just naturally a slim guy. Like I can make them a little better, I get them to where they need to be, and they match my frame. But at the end of the day, they might not be your calves. They just not genetically. You were born with those, and so I need to stay on me. I can look at you for inspiration, like, yeah, that he's pushing me to work harder, to excel, to do better. But at the same time, his mom and daddy's not my mother and father. So he got those genetic gifts from them. I got my genetic gifts from here. We're all dealt a deck of cards. Some people, unfortunately, got a deck that wasn't as favorable as the deck over here. But that doesn't mean you can't achieve it. Just stay within yourself, stay committed, and do what you need to do step by step, and you'll get there. Can I give one more?
Absolutely, you got it.
And the last one, diet, and it's a numbers game. Weight loss is a numbers game, and it's creating a caloric deficit. And so essentially, you can eat, you can drink outside of hormonal issues, anything like that, or health issues. We just strictly talking, calories and weight loss. As long as you expend more energy than you're consuming, you're gonna lose weight. Plain and simple as that. Most people don't count calories, and it's a job. But if I say to you, how much are you eating? Well, I don't really eat a lot. What is that? I don't really eat a lot. I'm like, all right, you could go out and go grab a burger and some fries, and that meal could be 2,000 calories. And maybe your body only needs, 1,800 to stay where it's at. So you're already 200 calories over. Now you think about being 200 calories over every day. So that little bit that first day doesn't matter. That second day doesn't matter. But when you start looking 2 months ahead, you done gained a pound. Now you look, a year from now, you done gained 5. And now 2 years from now, you done gained 10. And so that repetitive cycle. And so it's knowing those numbers. It's not necessarily eating particularly healthy all the time. It's knowing what you're putting in your body. And once you figure that out, everything else becomes so much easier, because it's not necessarily the food all the time. It's the condiments. It's the mayonnaise. It's the ketchup. It's the sauces, because you could eat, you can have 2 eggs in the morning, an English muffin, and some strawberries, and that's less than 300 calories. But now once you start, putting that cheese on that egg, you cook that egg in that butter, you put that butter and jelly on that English muffins, that sugar on that strawberries, and that 300 just went to 600, just like that. Now, it didn't make you more filling. You could have had 2 of those. So now you could essentially have 4 eggs, 2 English muffins, and 2 servings of strawberries for the same thing, but you substituted that for the cheese and everything else. So just be aware of how you're cooking your stuff and what you're cooking your stuff in. It don't have to be bland, but you just have to be aware of what you putting in your food, and it'll pay off. So diet's gonna matter. It's gonna be diet. It's gonna be nutrition. It's gonna be diet. It's gonna be strength training, and it's gonna be cardio. You work all of those together, and you'll get to results that you want.
Absolutely. But we definitely thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. As we continue to highlight African American men, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be on this podcast and to partake in this interview.
Man, I appreciate y'all reaching out to me. I was like, what? Because I didn't see it at first, because a lot of stuff goes into that other file. I just clicked on it. It'd be like, do you want more followers? Pay for this. So it'd be like a bunch of those. So I'm going to scroll through, and I saw it. I was like, oh man, it was like almost like 2 months. I was like, oh, I apologize, man. I didn't see this.
No, it's perfectly fine, man. I see brothers out there doing some good. I see that you're training. I see that you're doing. I just wanted to kind of reach out to say, just let you know that you're appreciated, man. If nobody else told you that, that's what the whole point of this podcast is, to make sure that we as African American men affirm each other and appreciate each other in our own journeys, because we all have different journeys, and we all have different things that we feel as though that we are put here to do. And I feel like this is one of my purposes, to kind of make sure that we continue to celebrate you. So I thank you for joining us today, and appreciate you for sharing your story. You know, we're going to make sure that all your information will be down below as far as how to get in contact with you. So, you know, if you want to follow him on all social media, make sure you do that, particularly on Instagram. But also, you know, we want to thank you for joining us again for another episode of Unapologetically Black Male, where we talk about surviving the stigma, standards, and systems. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all social media outlets, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. But make sure, more importantly, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can continue to get these numbers up and continue to show and share this positivity that we have for African-American men. Once again, thank you for joining us, and have a great and wonderful week. See you next week.
Y'all too, man. Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
All right.